What's going on, Fodogs? BoHD here, and this is the Apple iPhone 7 Plus in black. It's not space black, it's not deep black, it's not even jet black. Just black. The iPhone 7 Plus is the big brother to the iPhone 7. One of the biggest features it has that the iPhone 7 does not have is the dual camera sensors, which we're going to talk about more later. First, we need to unbox this phone before we can get to the nitty gritty. All we'll need to do is slide off the top of the box and we'll find the iPhone 7 Plus. Oh wait, no, we have the paperwork up front and center. You would think it would be the iPhone. Already, the presentation isn't as elegant as years past. The packet contains a welcome guide, a paper detailing the warranty, and some stickers. Okay, now we can take a look at the iPhone 7 Plus, which I'm gonna set off to the side for now. Underneath, there's a number of accessories. First, we have the standard wall wart, which does not feature fast charging, unfortunately. Next, we have the wired earpods with a lightning cable on one end, not a 3.5mm headphone jack. Why, you ask? It's because Apple removed the headphone jack. For better or for worse, that is to be decided, but it's gone. They have included the holy grail of adapters in the box. This is the lightning to 3.5mm headphone jack adapter. You will need this to connect any wired 3.5mm jack, whether it's an auxiliary cable to a pair of your old headphones or to your car stereo. You'll need to have this thing around. The last accessory is a lightning cable for charging. That's it. So now we can take a look at the iPhone 7 Plus and just take it out of its protective plastic. Like I said earlier, this is the matte black variant. It's been a couple of years since we've seen a black iPhone, and I gotta say, I think it looks really good. It's very sleek, very stealthy. It is a little bit of a fingerprint and smudge magnet though, but it's not too bad. I've certainly seen worse, and it's certainly not as bad as the jet black color option. Some of the most notable design changes include the dual camera sensors and the relocated antenna lines. They're now towards the top of the phone as opposed to the rear. They don't cut across the rear, they cut across the top. Of course, on the bottom of the phone, there is no longer a headphone jack. We mentioned that earlier. There is an extra speaker grill in place of the auxiliary port, which Apple has said is a barometric event. The display of the iPhone 7 Plus still measures in at 5.5 inches and it features a 1080p resolution. Apple has improved the color gamut and the brightness, so it should appear more dazzling than the screen in its predecessor, but in my opinion, the new enhancements aren't terribly noteworthy or noticeable, at least based off first impressions. The display looks good, but it doesn't look great, and it doesn't look too much different than past iPhone displays. The 7 Plus is running iOS 10 out of the box, and it includes a bunch of new features and design changes. I think the most apparent design changes can be found in the notification panel. Notifications look more like cards now. We're going to put together an iOS 10 video with all the main features very soon for you guys, but just know that iOS 10 is available for all relatively new Apple products. It's not only available to the iPhone 7 or 7 Plus. Now, the home button of the iPhone 7 Plus and the iPhone 7 has been redesigned to allow the phone to be water resistant. It no longer moves, so when you press on it, it vibrates, letting you know that it has actually been pressed, but it doesn't actually move anymore. It's just like 3D Touch on other Apple products, except the vibration, haptic feedback doesn't quite come from the button itself. It's felt throughout the entire bottom half of the phone. It's not as precise as 3D Touch is using a 3D Touch trackpad on a MacBook, for example. I'm not a fan of this new button, but it might grow on me. With that said, the 7 Plus features the new A10 Fusion chip with a 64-bit architecture and an embedded M10 Motion coprocessor. There's also 3GB of RAM packed inside of here. This phone is wicked fast. There's really no hiccups or stuttering when switching between applications, opening or closing applications, searching the web. iOS has always done well when it comes to providing a smooth, consistent experience. The same could be said with iOS 10 running on the iPhone 7. The only difference here is the speed, the processing power. I'm able to receive information faster than previous iPhones. For the mathematicians out there, Geekbench 4 spits out a single core score of about 3,500 and a multi-core score of about 5,600. Those are incredibly high scores, some of the highest we've ever seen. So the 7 Plus features two 12-megapixel camera sensors, a wide-angle f1.8 aperture lens, and a f2.8 aperture telephoto lens. What this setup allows for you to do is basically zoom in on images without losing quality, without relying on digital zoom. The dual lens system creates optical zoom, so you can zoom in, retain high-quality images. Apple will also be rolling out an update that brings a portrait mode so you can capture images with a really milky depth of field. As for the image quality, based off first impressions, I have no complaints. Images appear crisp and detailed with proper exposure in most cases. The f1.8 aperture really helps create good low light images too. There is also a 7 megapixel front facing camera sensor, and here is a sample photo. Let's talk speakers. There is a front firing and bottom firing speaker this time around. Technically that means the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus have stereo speakers. And I gotta say, the sound is much better than previous iPhone speakers, but they aren't really the punchiest or the crispiest stereo speakers I've heard. I think HTC still has Apple beat in this department. Some other neat features of the iPhone 7 Plus include an IP67 water resistance, meaning it can survive being completely submerged in water up to 1 meter without it being damaged. If you accidentally drop it in a toilet, you should be a-okay, though you'll want to drop it in some disinfectant soon after you fish it out. Also wash your hands. Under the hood, there is a 2900 mAh battery, which is larger than the 2750 mAh battery found in the 6S Plus, so you should be able to get at least 1 day of heavy use out of this guy before needing to connect it to a charger. But there you guys have it, our iPhone 7 Plus unboxing and first impressions. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below in a comment and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe